Cool. All right, let's move on. End of the year means we have to go through our end of the season awards. Um, we look. I like to look back at the past ones because we do it at the beginning of the year, midway through the year, and at the end of the year. See how they change. Uh, Dave Football did the preseason awards with me, but I did the way too early awards in the middle of the season by myself. That was my solo episode. So we go through MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Coach of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year, and Defensive Rookie of the Year, and pick our picks. I also put on there, shout out your boy. I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to start off. We don't really talk about it that much. Not too much dialogue about it, but Geno Smith for Comeback Player of the Year.
Oh
I'm saying it
yeah,
right now. If he doesn't win, I'll be pretty upset because the way he's come back, and I know that they usually give it to a like a hurt player, like McCaffrey and Saquon both got hurt last year. But Geno Smith, give it to him, man. The guy deserves it. But anywho, let's start off with Defensive Rookie of the Year. Who do you have for? Who do you think is going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year?
defensive rookie of the year. It's got to be your boy Sauce Gardner, in
Yeah,
my
that's what
opinion.
I had. I had
Yeah,
Sauce Gardner too.
he's been locked down forever. He's unreal. I you can tell he's a star in the making. He's dope. He's dope. I loved Aiden Hutchinson going into this year. I still believe he had a great, really, really good campaign first year. But dude, Sauce Gardner, obvious star in the making already.
So preseason, I picked Aiden Hutchinson. He was my favorite. But midway through the year, I went Sauce Gardner, and I'm gonna stick with Sauce Gardner, man. He's legit. He's so cool too. Like he's a
Yeah.
cool dude. Like he's a pro's pro, and I think he's just gonna continue to get better. But as far as rookie campaign, nothing against Aiden Hutchinson either. I think he had like you
No,
said, I think he had a great year. But I think as far as defensive rookie of the year goes, I think Sauce Gardner's pretty much locked this one up. Uh, Offensive rookie of the year, who do you got?
you know, I picked earlier in the year. I always love a good Ohio State player. I'm a big Buckeyes fan. So I was going with Garrett Wilson, who's my boy. I love Garrett Wilson. I followed him since high school. He was a top recruit for Ohio State. But I'm gonna have to go with my other Buckeye, Chris Olave, for my rookie of the year offensive. He was just solid
My
all
guy.
year. Yeah, he turned up. He turned up all year. He was a game breaker. And dude, I truly believe if you had a Chris Olave, Michael Thomas combo,
They would have
come
been
on.
nasty. They would have been
Oh,
nasty.
so good. Is
Um,
Olave yours too?
no, but Olave was my preseason pick. I picked
Oh yeah.
Olave before the season started. Before the season started, Dave Football made a good pick, but it just didn't work out because he got hurt. He picked Brees Hall. Thought Brees
Yeah.
Hall was going to be a stud, and he was a stud, but then got hurt. I picked Chris Olave. I think he was my favorite receiver going into the draft. Coming out of the draft. I think I loved what he did. As much as I like Garrett Wilson, but I liked Olave a little better, just situational wise too. I also thought Jameis Winston was going to be actual playing,
Yeah.
but that didn't work out. I'm going with Michigan State K9, Kenneth Walker. I think Kenneth Walker had an unbelievable year. Running back, he's one of the best running backs I think in the league this year. I went heavy on him in fantasy football, and I'm just saying that because I know he produced and helped me win a championship. I think he's been a big contributor to Geno and the Seahawks' success.
Absolutely.
But
No, yeah,
I
it's a
do
great,
love
great pick.
I love your pick too, Olave. It will help me look smart in my preseason picks. Coach of the year. Who do you got for coach of the year?
I got your boy Kyle Shanahan. I think Shanahan had to battle through some adversity. I mean, at first Trey Lance losing him, then Jimmy G gets you there once again. Jimmy G, gets another unfair shake, in my opinion, from this Niners team that has no respect for him for some odd reason, even though
I
he's
don't
solid.
get it.
Yeah,
I don't get the Jimmy G hate. I really
what is
don't.
that? How could you, dude? Jimmy G is giving you everything. He's gotten you there all the time. Just because he's not like scoring mad touchdowns, he is unbelievable. Jimmy G is your boy, yeah.
I really don't get it. I don't get the hate for Jimmy G. He's brought them to a Super Bowl, brought them to like three NFC Championship series.
Yeah.
And the only times they don't make it is when he's hurt. So maybe that's why they don't like him because he keeps getting hurt. But the guy is like, I don't know. I don't get that either. I like that pick. That's not who I had, but I actually really like that pick a lot. Like it makes me second guess my my one. Like I think that's a good one.
Thank you.
Uh, I'm gonna go with Nick Sirianni, from the
Yeah,
Eagles. I just like they totally. I mean, I think he's probably the favorite. I'm not sure the odds there, but he's got to be. You know, brings the Eagles. I don't think the Eagles were in the play. Were they in the playoffs last year? I don't remember. Uh, uh,
I
but
forgot.
but he's kind of helped turn this team around. You know, he goes. They half of that is getting AJ Brown, but he's helped guys like Devontae Smith kind of step into like as much as AJ Brown's the wide receiver one, I think Devontae Smith is a wide receiver one caliber player that I don't think people would have said last year and even earlier in this year. If you're interested, I did say Nick Sirianni and midway through the year, obviously, because I think they were undefeated at that point. And then preseason picks. Are you ready for these? I said Sean McDermott, which isn't too crazy, but one that just did not pan out for my guy Danny Football. He said Josh McDaniels. Tough look on
Ooh,
that one. I would,
ooh.
there are parts of this year that I thought Josh McDaniels wouldn't even be a coach in the NFL by the end of the year.
Yeah, that's rough. That's
That's a tough
rough.
one. That's a tough one. Defensive player of the year. Who do you got?
It's got to be my another Buckeye boy, Nick Bosa.
I like Nick Bosa a lot.
Nick Bosa, dude, another just great year, and he's just gonna just keep racking up great years. I think he's just gonna be one of those guys that's just a stud, like a Jared Allen type guy as we grow up. You know what I mean? As
Yeah,
time goes along.
I'll tell you what. I'm gonna have a lot of sleepless nights of Nick Bosa in a fantasy football league, an IDP league. The second to last week of the NFL, the fantasy football season, I sat Nick Bosa at the last minute for TJ Watt. Lose that week, end up making the playoffs as a sixth seed, would have been the fifth seed. I scored 145 points in week one, lost. If I was in the upper part of the bracket, I would have won and made it to the championship if you added all my scores together.
That one choice.
That one choice just totally derailed my whole season. So
I hate that when that
uh,
happens.
I hope Nick Bosa wins, but I'm gonna stick with my guns. Preseason, this is a 3 for 3 pick here. Preseason, midseason, sticking with it out. I'll go with Micah Parsons. I think
Great
Micah
pick.
Parsons just is a generational defensive talent. Like I think he's going to be one of the he's going to be one of the reasons that Tom Brady has a tough time on Monday night.
Yeah.
He's unbelievable. I think he's young. He's going to continue to get better, much like Nick Bosa. Just going to continue to get better. But I'm going to go Micah Parsons this year. MVP. If you're wondering, I went Micah Parsons and Danny Football went TJ Watt preseason.
Okay.
Injury kind of derailed him there week one, but MVP. Who do you got being the MVP?
This is a tough one. I want the guy in my heart that is the MVP, the real MVP to me, is Jalen Hurts. 100% Jalen Hurts is the most valuable player in the league this year. The other guy I want to say, which I'm not going to say because I'm going to go with Jalen Hurts, but I want to say is Mahomes. Mahomes is also very deserving of this award this year. I can't stand him. I don't watch Chiefs games, but every time I look at this guy, he's just lighting it up. But Jalen Hurts is my MVP because he is the most valuable player. Eagles go where he goes, and Eagles could win this whole thing if he stays healthy and continues how good he was.
I like it. I mean, I said before in the beginning of the podcast that Jalen Hurts I think has to be. I think there's two people that could win the MVP, and he has to be one of those two people.
Yeah,
Um, this one I battled with, but I think I finally made my decision here. I'm going to stick with my midseason pick, and I'm going Pat Mahomes. I hate to
respect,
say it.
dude.
I hope
Respect.
I'm wrong. I'm going to be honest with you. I hope I'm wrong. But this team was supposed to be bad. Like this
Right,
team was
right.
like the Tyreek Hill was gone. Pat Mahomes is going to see a big drop off. I think he has better numbers than he did last year. He just has found a way to win games. They both had the bye week one. Um, you know, I just think that it's very impressive. And like you said, this team goes where he goes. I think the Chiefs go where Pat Mahomes goes. If Pat Mahomes doesn't play or gets hurt and they're done, I think this Chief team just crumbles.
No, I'd say you're right. I'm with you. I mean, honestly, the reason I'm taking Jalen is because I think Jalen like just stepped up so unbelievable this year. But
Mm,
you're so right. I mean, take Tyreek Hill out, it didn't even matter for Mahomes.
yeah,
Didn't even matter.
I
He
I
didn't even
want to
blink an
say he
eye.
was better.
I think me too. Me
I
too.
want to look at his stat. I want to look at his stats real quick because I again I fantasy football wise I pay attention a little more. I had him in fantasy football and he helped me win a championship. Let's see numbers wise. He had more fantasy football points than last year. So let's just see. Dude, he threw for 4,839 yards in 2021. This year he threw for over 5,000 yards, 5,250. So that's over 400 yards
Wow.
more. And he threw for 37 touchdowns in 2021. He threw 41 this year. So four more touchdowns this year. He threw one less pick. And
That's
you lose your
wild.
number one. I mean, I guess you could argue Travis Kelsey is the number one target, but Tyreek Hill has to be arguably his number one target
Right.
for wide receiver. So I don't know, man. I think it's quite impressive. And everyone was saying, "Oh, Mahomes is going to be exposed this year. Mahomes is going to be exposed this year." He did better than he did with Tyreek Hill. So I'm honestly impressed with the kid. I like him a lot. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I don't like him. I'm not a Pat Mahomes guy, but I like what he's done this year. I'm a little more of a fan of him because he helped me win some money in fantasy football. But
Right.
you know, I I I think he deserved it. But as I said Jalen Hurts is a future MVP. So if Jalen Hurts wins the MVP, I will be very excited.
Mhm.